Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Relationship Talks. I am your host, Lorrie Brook, and together we will get to take a look at what goes on behind closed doors. Today, we have another solo episode, and today I wanted to talk to you about who are you? Who are you? And you might be thinking, what in the world has this got to do with relationships? But if you've been listening to the previous episodes in the series, so many of our guests have come on and said that the key to their relationship, the key to being happier and being more fulfilled and having a healthy relationship is knowing who they are, knowing what is important to them. And I think this was a topic that I really wanted to dig a little bit deeper into because for so many of us, I think it's easy to forget that aspect. Like we just kind of go through life doing what we need to do to get through each day. And, we go to school, we then might go to university or get a trade or go out and get a job. And then we create these relationships with people, but without really understanding who it is that we are, like who we have become. Because we're not the kids in the schoolyard anymore, where our life identity may have been, we were the sporty one or we were the popular one or we were the arty one. Maybe part of that has followed us through, but I know there's many of us who kind of sit here and go, well, if I'm not a business owner or if I'm not a teacher or if I'm not a corporate, climbing the corporate ladder, if I'm not a wife or a husband, a mum or a dad, a brother or a sister, if I'm just me, who is that? And it can take a lot of soul searching. It can take a lot of time and effort and I suppose the desire to dig deep to find out who that person is. And it might not be easy. It might not be who we want it to be. But I think the journey into doing that is really important. Stick around. I just want to take a quick break. If you didn't know, one of the aspects of the work that I do is helping people understand who they are when it comes to relationships. And I do this through an online program that I have available on my website. I'd love for you to take a look. And in the meantime, I'll be right back. We're just going to take a quick break now, so don't go anywhere. Make sure you stick around and join us for the rest of our conversation. If you're looking for strategies to end the cycle of conflict and foster a healthier and more fulfilling relationship, then make sure you check out our online relationship course, Reset Your Relationships. Inside, we explore techniques such as active listening, empathy building, conflict resolution skills, and fostering emotional intimacy. I'll share with you practical advice, real-life examples, and actionable steps to help you and your partner create a more peaceful and loving partnership. Don't go away. I will be right back finishing the conversation just after this. Knowing who we are when it comes to our relationships can create a little bit of a gap because it's about understanding what we're thinking, what we're feeling, how we are behaving, but also what is around us that's creating those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. When we can understand how the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that we're experiencing has an impact on what's going on around us, then we can really start to create that change that we need to see in our relationships. If you've been on my website, you know that for me, the 3 C's are really important. And when it comes to me, the 3 C's, for me personally, coffee, chocolate, and cocktails. But from a professional aspect, I still think 3 C's are really important. Choice, chance, and change. You've got to make the choice to take a chance to create the change. And that's what this work is all about. Because when you can create an environment within yourself where you've got the courage to really just go out on a limb and go, you know what? I don't like how things are turning out. I don't like the person who I am in this relationship. I want it to be different. And you take that chance and make that change, to take some action, to create the change. That's when you see things starting to fall into place. And I think this is where courage also comes into play, because we don't know how they're going to fall, right? We don't know how the cookie's going to crumble. We don't know if it's going to crumble where we want it to, if things are going to fall where we want them to, or if they're going to fall apart so we can create something even better. And that takes a lot of courage and, I suppose, a desire to know that if by you becoming a better person, this isn't meant to be, maybe something better is going to happen in its place. A lot of the time when we're doing this work on ourselves, we can feel really vulnerable and really raw. And so it's really important that when we're doing this work, that we've got a safety net around us, that we have boundaries in place so that we can do the exploration that we need to without feeling like it's going to come back and hurt us. Because when we feel unsafe, we're not going to dig as deep as we need to find those answers. It's just natural. We want to protect ourselves. We want to keep ourselves safe from harm. And so we need to make sure we have the appropriate boundaries. And what those boundaries might look like could be different for everyone. I'm going to take a short break, and I will put in this ad break the link for my free ebook, How to Stop the Overwhelm, 5 Simple Steps. You can grab it here. We're just going to take a quick break now, so don't go anywhere. Make sure you stick around and join us for the rest of our conversation. If you haven't already, make sure you grab a copy of my ebook, It's Time to Stop the Overwhelm, giving you practicable and actionable steps that you can implement right away to create happier and healthier relationships. Don't go away. I will be right back finishing the conversation just after this. Welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking around. Boundaries. Boundaries for ourselves when we're in this self-exploration phase. What does that look like? Well, it's going to be personal. It's going to be individual depending on who you are and what's important to you. But it could be simple things like taking time out for yourself and actually sticking to it, carving out an hour or two in your day and going, this is time for me. This is really important. And when people try and book things in, going, no, I'm sorry, I've got a commitment already. You don't need to explain what that commitment is. You don't need to justify what it is to anyone. It could be that when your partner or somebody asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, that you say no, and feeling okay with just saying no. There's so many times that we feel like we need to justify why we say no to people or why we don't agree to things. But no in and of itself is a full sentence. You don't need to give any more of an explanation than that if you don't want to. And being okay with that. Taking small steps at the start makes it easier as you go on this journey to take those bigger steps, to take those bigger leaps, and feeling okay within you to hold that boundary. And that's one thing I would always encourage, is that when you start setting boundaries in place, that they're only little, right? Because big boundaries, big scary boundaries might be too hard for you to hold up. But you just want the little ones, the light ones, the ones where you go, you know what? No, I'm going to go out for that cup of coffee by myself. Or I'm going to get up an hour early just to do some journaling. Or I'm going to go to bed 10 minutes early to do a meditation, whatever the case may be. And if you do that, as you get used to holding those little ones, then you can make them a little bit bigger. And then you'll get more comfortable doing that. And then you can make them bigger again. And so it's taking these baby steps to help you build your boundary muscle. Because as you do that, you're also finding out who you are. You're finding out where your boundaries are, what you like, what you don't like. You're taking that time to, what is it that I want to do? Who am I? Do I like to paint? Do I like to shop? Do I like to run? Do I like to do yoga? Do I like to go horseback riding? Whatever the case may be, you're finding out who it is that you are. You're finding out what makes you happy. Because when you do this process, right, you find out what makes you happy, what you like, what you don't like. You're also then creating a version of you that you know when it comes to relationships, this is okay, this isn't okay. And you can actually verbalize and you can communicate and you can articulate what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like. When somebody says, what would you like to do for your birthday? You can go, you know what? I actually want to do this, as opposed to, oh, whatever you want planned. You don't have to be the doormat. You don't have to leave it up to everybody else. You might be the type of person who likes surprises. And so you can say from the get-go, you know what? Surprises are a great thing for me. So in this relationship, if you want it to be a good relationship, surprise me. Take me away, buy me gifts, organize surprise parties, whatever those surprises might be, it doesn't matter. You might be the complete opposite though and go, I hate surprises. I want to know what we've got planned and when and how. You might want to know all the details. So being able to articulate who you are and what you like is really, really important. Anyway, that is it from me. I hope you have found this podcast episode helpful. One thing that I would really love, if you've got the time, is to jump on and leave a review. And we are going to start doing a little bit of not a competition as such, but every time somebody leaves us a review, we will pick out one person that month and they will score something, a gift from me, and it could even be a free coaching session as well. Anyway, remember, the choice is yours. Make today and every day the very best it can be, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. And thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Relationship Talks. If you can, I would love for you to jump on and leave a review. And whilst you are at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please join me again next week when we get to take a look behind closed doors at someone else's relationship. But until then, I am your host, Lorrie Brook, and remember, the choice is yours, so make today and the week the very best it can be.